Is it a boy or a girl? This question raises so much excitement and anticipation. I can remember as a 10-year-old finding out that my mom was expecting. At the time, I knew it would be a girl. And I imagined doing her hair and dressing her up. But if she would have been a boy, things would have been a little different. Instead of having tea parties, we probably would have built forts outside. I wouldn't have loved him any less, but boys and girls are just different. They play, interact, grow, learn, and think differently. But in our society today, not everyone believes with that statement. Anymore, the line dividing the genders has become so blurred that to some, it doesn't even matter. Many psychologists, educators, and doctors have researched the mental and physical traits of males and females and have agreed that there's a distinct difference between genders far beyond the obvious physical ones. But in the name of freedom and equality, men and women are disregarding their natural roles in their given gender and assuming the position of the opposite one. Now, our country was founded on the idea of freedom and equality. It began meaning that a peasant from England could come to America and establish himself as a citizen with respect. And as our country grew, this same spirit of freedom and equality also decided that whites and blacks are equally human and deserve the same respect. And it continued on to decide that men and women are also equal, deserving the same dignity and rights. But has our society today gone beyond the bounds of freedom and equality in this issue? Today, I would like to argue that it has. In January, the Pentagon declared that women are to be allowed in combat. Tony Perkins, the president of the Family Research Council, stated that senior officials said the military's goal is to provide a level, gender-neutral playing field. But as America's defense, shouldn't the goal be to have the most lethal fighting force in the world? The military isn't and should never be the great social equalizer. This is just one example of how our society has decided that saying that men and women are different is unfair and is depriving them of their rights as humans. But difference is not bad. Equal value does not mean identical roles. Michael G. Connor, the clinical and medical psychologist, states, as the goal of equality between men and women now grows closer, we are losing our awareness of important differences. In some circles of society, politically correct thinking is obliterating important discussion as well as our awareness of the similarities and differences between men and women. Now, as we look around, women are striving to be equal with men by taking on their roles, and they're losing their femininity. And men, on the other hand, are being pushed out of their position and are becoming apathetic, losing their masculinity. Now, within this debate, there are two main sides, complementarianism and egalitarianism. According to CARM.org, which is the Christian Apologetics Research Ministry, complementarianism states that though there may be gifts of both men and women that overlap, there are biblically designated roles that do not. Complementarianism states that the differences between men and women enhance who they are in their relationship with each other and does not degrade their social status. Egalitarianism, on the other hand, states that all humans are equal in every single way. But let's take this trail of thought to its logical end. If everyone is equal on every level and identical in every way, how can we account for the differences that we see even in our own classroom? It's easy to see that we are all unique and individual, and who we are has a big part to do with our gender. John Piper states, men and women are equally glorious in the image of God, with that worth and that dignity, and yet complement each other in their differences, both in marriage, in church, and in society, in such a way that the flourishing of manhood and womanhood happens best when those complementary differences are honored rather than minimized. The root of this problem, this revolution, it's an absolute upheaval of the traditional order of every aspect of life. Consider this. If our gender does not matter, what does that mean to an individual? As I referenced earlier, who we are, even from birth, is greatly determined by our gender. It accounts for a lot of our personality and our role, our God-given design. So if our gender does not matter, that is a huge part of who we are, although it doesn't dictate it. And so by taking away the difference between gender, you're also taking away a part of who we are as individuals. And consider the family. Taking away the difference in genders means that there is no mother and father. They would be simply two identical people trying to lead their children in whatever way they wish. Logically, this thought is a reversal of the natural order. And biblically, it is a rebellion against God's design. Men and women are created to be different with contrasting and complementary purposes, and neither role should be seen as inferior to the other, but as equally and especially precious. And each gender should embrace their roles. This issue is not about equal rights or freedom. It's about rebelling against the natural God-given order of life.
Thank you.